Tonight on CTV News, testy pipeline politics.
It's not the Danielle Smith show, it's the Canadian team.
David Eby's pushback on pipelines as the Alberta Premier firing back. Why she's calling Eby un-Canadian.
I have talked to single-owner truckers that have been extorted for $25,000.
Is extortion violence sparking copycat crimes? The community fearful that criminals are widening the net.
So having that much inventory committed to somewhere where it can't move has created quite a few mathematical challenges for us.
Brewery blues, how the BC GEU strike is hitting the local craft beer industry.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with the premiers of BC and Alberta trading barbs over the contentious issue of a pipeline to the North Coast. Danielle Smith even called David Eby's response to her plan un-Canadian. That had Eby firing back. CTV's Legislative Bureau Chief Rob Buffum has the story.
Pipeline politics got personal Tuesday.
Premier Eby's comments are un-Canadian and they're unconstitutional.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith in Ottawa pushing her proposal for a bitumen pipeline to BC's coast, reacting to Eby's anti-pipeline sentiment highlighted in this video posted Monday.
The Supreme Court has determined that the reason we have a country and have given trade and commerce power and control over ports and interprovincial infrastructure to the federal government is for exactly this reason.
Within hours, Eby fired back.
It's not the Danielle Smith show, it's the Canadian team. And we all deserve the same opportunity for the same federal funding for our projects as she does for hers. That's not un-Canadian, that is fair.
Eby's energy minister had his back.
The definition of being Canadian isn't to agree with everything that Danielle Smith says.
But the leader of the official opposition thinks Smith was right.
Danielle Smith called out David Eby, and I commend her for it. He does need to be called out for blocking the prosperity of Canadians.
But the timeline for an actual pipeline is likely a long ways away, says this political scientist.
We are so far away from anything happening that it's premature. This is like a bench-clearing brawl before the puck is dropped.
Smith, who met with Prime Minister Carney Monday, says he told her he'd have an answer by the Grey Cup in mid-November on whether the pipeline gets the green light.
All it takes is the Prime Minister to say yes. And so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get to that by mid-November.
Eby, again, didn't hold back.
If Alberta gets a $50 billion publicly funded pipeline, then I want a $50 billion federal guarantee for projects in British Columbia as well. And I want $50 billion for every province across Canada and every territory because their projects are just as damn important as Alberta's project is.
At this rate, the biggest blows during Grey Cup might not be on the field.
Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria. Rob, what more was Premier Eby saying about the possibility of ending the oil tanker ban?
Well, Mi Jung, I expect that to be a major sticking point. It has been so far. And in his frustration today, Eby talked about the fact that he'd had First Nations leaders contacting him after they had been contacted by Danielle Smith's government about this pipeline. These First Nations saying, look, we have agreed to be on side with you and coordinate and collaborate for things like LNG and other energy projects. If this pipeline goes ahead with an oil tanker ban being lifted, our support is more tenuous. So it's going to be very critical that Eby maintains his position. Expect him to fight tooth and nail on this one. MJ.
Thank you, Rob. Breaking news, one person has been injured after a helicopter conducting maintenance work for wood fiber LNG went down in a remote area near Squamish. The worker was met by a team of critical care paramedics and taken to hospital in serious condition. The cause of the crash is under investigation. More now on the violence that has been rocking Surrey. There were 4 shootings on Monday, including 2 at the same restaurant. It comes as 7 men have been charged in connection with extortion attempts. As CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, while a positive step, the community remains on edge.
Ustad G restaurant in Surrey shot at Monday, 2 locations targeted less than 2 weeks after a separate shooting at the same chain in Maple Ridge.
Absolutely devastating, and
I am hopeful that these criminals will not be caught.
Mayor Brenda Locke says the community is fearful and the nature of the extortion attempts is changing, with many small-scale business owners also being targeted.
I don't know the exact reason for that, except to say that sounds like copycat that are out there just to take whatever they can get.
Surrey police is investigating whether the shooting at the restaurant is related to the ongoing extortion threats in the city, but it's enough to put business owners on edge.
The gangsters roam freely in Surrey, so it's possible any time that they can shoot at a police vehicle or at a police station.
This Punjabi radio host says people are scared to go to work, worried they might be next.
People sometimes think that it's only the elite people are at risk or people who make good money are at risk. But once they will finish with them, and then they will come after the common person.
It comes as the federal government designated the Lawrence Bishnoi gang a terrorist group, and the province launched an RCMP-led task force.
A special task force of police that resulted in 2 of the 7 recent arrests. That team is continuing their work.
But the mayor says extortion threats are not exclusive to the Bishnoi gang and not exclusive to Surrey.
I can highly doubt that somebody like Lawrence Bishnoi is going to go to all the trouble to try and get that kind of dollar.
Same thing has been happening in Alberta and in Ontario, and my hope is that that designation gives tools to police.
The advice is to report any incident, no matter how small it may seem, as the city continues to tackle the complex issue. Yasmin Gandim, CTV News, Surrey.
And tonight, 34-year-old Jose Centeno is facing a slew of charges after shots were fired near a SkyTrain station and police office in Surrey's Whalley neighborhood Monday afternoon. Police say the suspect fired a gun near Gateway Station around 3:15 before fleeing to the police office, where he fired more shots. He was arrested shortly after and taken to hospital with unspecified injuries.
Offenses include unauthorized possession of a firearm, pointing a firearm, reckless discharge of a firearm, assaulting a police officer, and obstructing a police officer.
A possible motive is still under investigation. The accused remains in custody and is scheduled to appear in court on Friday. Vancouver's Broadway plan got a major boost from City Council today. Councillors approved sweeping zoning changes to thousands of parcels of land in the Broadway and Cambie corridors. CTV's Craig Krause is following this in the Breaking News Centre. Craig, this is meant to speed up construction of new housing projects in parts of the city. How will it work?
Well, Mi Jung, the city says city-initiated rezonings, once enacted, will send projects directly into the development permit stage, and that could cut around 12 months from the approval process. That includes eliminating public hearings. So this affects more than 4,200 properties along the Broadway subway line and the Cambie corridor where the Canada Line runs. The city says most of the newly approved low-rise, mid-rise, and high-rise developments will need to include some form of social housing and below-market rental or purpose-built homes. Renters displaced because of the construction, the city says they can return to their buildings at similar rents after the redevelopment. When that will be, though, that remains unclear. So in the meantime, the city says the updated zoning will see buildings range from 4 to 22 stories. The city added that any new building will have to follow design guidelines, height, and density limits. Mija?
Thanks for this, Craig. It was a 2022 campaign promise from Ken Sim that caught everybody's attention. A pledge to hire 100 mental health care nurses if he became mayor. As CTV's Martin McMahon reports, 3 years later, that number hasn't been met, although the new mental health supports appear to be making a difference.
The promise from then mayoral candidate Mayor Ken Sim was a big one. 100 new mental health nurses to go with 100 new cops.
We have an opportunity to set a new standard in North America for a modern and a compassionate approach towards addressing complex issues.
3 years later, Vancouver Coastal Health has hired half that number of workers to provide new mental health supports. But the new programming funded by the City of Vancouver appears to be working. According to a Vancouver Coastal Health report, Mobile mental health units are leading to drops in emergency room visits and police interactions.
So they have hired 41 of 50 mental health workers and nurses. And what we've heard today from Coastal Health is that they've determined that 50 staffing complement is actually the right number of staff as opposed to the 100 that we promised during the campaign.
But while this councillor acknowledges the program is making a difference, she believes people should expect politicians to follow through on promises.
Going into an election year, ABC needs to not continue to make promises in the lead up to an election that are impossible for them to carry out or are oversimplified and gloss over the complexity of the problem and mislead the public.
But then there's the question of why the city has felt the need to fund what is an area of provincial jurisdiction.
The City of Vancouver shouldn't have to be doing that. It's $8 million having to put into this, and they're seeing results. So if the provincial government wanted to figure out how to fix this problem, they could look at what the City of Vancouver is doing and actually pick up the tab like they should be.
While these mental health supports appear to be having some positive outcomes, questions remain. ABC is pursuing a 0% property tax increase. But where are the cuts going to come from if it is continuing to fund non-core services like these? Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Local breweries are pleading with the government and public service workers to get back to the bargaining table as their product sits behind liquor store picket lines. Still ahead, what the strike is doing to their bottom line. But first, let's take a live look at English Bay. It's golden hour still, so quick, get out there if you want to take some pictures.
Yeah, we still have about 20 minutes before the sun sets, and not a bad sunset that we're hoping for anyways. Yeah, not a bad day today either. We saw mostly cloudy skies, and that's what we're seeing right now. Here's a look at temperatures across the Lower Mainland. 14 degrees in Burnaby, as well as 15 in North Vancouver, a touch warmer in the Valley, 17 in Abbotsford, and 19 degrees in Chilliwack. As we head through the overnight, we will see cloudy skies and 10 degrees, and that's how we'll see the day tomorrow. We'll see 14 degrees with a slight chance of showers through the afternoon, but we will definitely see some tomorrow evening.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
Some rain before we see a sunny Thanksgiving Monday. I've got those details coming up.
It's a good thing the full moon was last night.
Yes, exactly.
Did you catch it?
Clear skies. It was stunning.
It was spectacular. All right, thanks, Anne. Turning to the ongoing labor impasse that has put government liquor stores and a liquor distribution branch behind BCGEU picket lines. Caught in the dispute are craft breweries. Many are struggling to get their beer to private stores and restaurants. As CTV's Shannon Patterson reports, they're pleading with both sides to find a way to end the strike.
Today's run of IPA is being wrapped for delivery at the Parkside Brewery in Port Moody.
We make a wide range of award-winning beers.
But because of the BCGEU strike,
we're canning significantly less. I'd say we're short about 60% of our retail sales right now.
On a typical day, Parkside Brewing would package about 240 flats of canned beer. But with reduced distribution during the strike, right now it's only packaging about a third of that. Not only are government liquor stores behind picket lines, so is the liquor distribution branch where Parkside's product is stored.
So having that much inventory committed to somewhere where it can't move has created quite a few mathematical challenges for us, just sort of catching up and figuring out how much to can or not can. That's one issue, but beyond that, it's really a lot of the revenue from the BCL stores just isn't available, and those are the busiest stores in the province often, so that's a challenge.
Another challenge during the strike, getting beer to private liquor stores and restaurants where it can be sold.
Because they rely on the government liquor stores to do the deliveries for them, they don't have extra trucks and extra manpower to start delivering. So they are all scrambling to get that system in place.
I'm heading to the warehouse myself today to load up a truck to get to a faraway land tomorrow. Whatever we have to do to keep the machine rolling.
For the craft brewing industry, already struggling with increased costs and a customer base with less money to spend.
This is worse for us than COVID because during COVID we were an essential service and we stayed open. Now we don't have it. We're open, but we have no ability to get to the product and get it to the customers.
As the strike enters its 6th week, brewers are pleading with the province and the BCGEU.
They really need to get back to the table because this is having an incredibly adverse effect.
We just hope a fair deal can be found pretty quickly here and get everybody back on board.
And get their beer back on liquor store shelves. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Port Moody.
The province introduced new legislation today that would see more childcare spaces at schools.
Public schools are trusted spaces. They are community hubs, places where children go to learn, to play, and to spend their time. They hold incredible potential to offer the kinds of care and services that families need.
The School Amendment Act would enable school districts to provide childcare to kids of all ages, including infants and toddlers. This would include before and after school hours, as well as times like holidays and Pro-D days when no class is in session. Public shaming or civic duty. One Vancouver Park Board commissioner is getting singled out for her absenteeism, something her detractors say is getting in the way of serving the public. But as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, those who share her political stripes believe it's all just politics.
An empty chair where ABC Vancouver Park Board Commissioner Mary Claire Howard sits as she chose to attend another meeting virtually. On the agenda at Monday night's Park Board meeting, her attendance record.
The motion was in the public interest to call attention to these absences and to ask the commissioner if she would want to do better for the city.
The motion was brought forward by independent Commissioner Brennan Bastiovansky, who says Howard has been absent without leave, missing 6 out of 10 meetings this year. He says she's also missed 3 consecutive board meetings, placing her 1 meeting short of being disqualified.
But we're obliged to bring it forward because she's collecting full-time pay for part-time work, and the public needs to know why.
On Monday, it was revealed Howard missed meetings due to flying to Paris following her mother's death.
Her mother passed away, and she's allowed to grieve. And to turn that into something political, it's like kicking someone when they're down.
6 speakers, mostly former Park Board commissioners, spoke in support of the motion.
But you have a responsibility, commissioners, all of you have a responsibility. If you can't do your job for whatever reason, then take the appropriate steps. Take a leave of absence or resign.
Not once has she ever requested a leave of absence for any of these meetings.
Some believe Howard is in a conflict of interest since she voted in last night's motion. CTV News asked her for comment, but she wasn't available. Howard calls those claims absurd and says there's an exception in the Vancouver Charter.
I think there's nothing behind it other than, just to make this woman, Commissioner Howard's life difficult.
The motion directs staff to seek legal help on whether Howard is in a conflict of interest under the Vancouver Charter. It could then go to City Council, which could send it to court. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
The growing risk of flooding in parts of BC, why researchers say governments are focusing on the wrong areas when it comes to preventing catastrophe. And charges have been laid against a Nanaimo man after this dash cam video of a cyclist being pushed went viral. How police say social media helped them in their investigation. Plus, a second Oval Office meeting between Mark Carney and Donald Trump will tell you how things went when the pair sat down to talk and if it might change anything when it comes to the trade war. When CTV News continues, stay with us. Have a news tip, video, or photos of breaking news from your screen to ours. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Email us at vantips@ctv.ca or text 10400. The changing climate means we are likely to experience a lot more rising water in BC in the years ahead. But as CTV's Ben Milger reports, new research out of UBC suggests the province and regional governments may be focusing on the wrong areas when it comes to preventing catastrophic flooding.
Scenes like this one that played out in Deep Cove last year have become all too familiar to British Columbians. While we tend to focus on major floods, such as the one that left much of the Fraser Valley underwater in 2021, localized flooding can be just as damaging on a smaller scale, and it happens much more frequently than the major events.
Maybe the 100-year flood that's now becoming more of like the 10-year or 20-year flood, or even if we take some smaller floods that are happening once in about about a few decades that are happening maybe many more times within a decade.
Researchers at UBC's Forest Science Center pored over the data and found the approach to preventing major flood events, including building higher dikes and bigger culverts, will not stop the water.
It's not going to do the job because it's treating the symptoms and not the root cause of the problem.
Instead, the study suggests governments look at the impacts of things like forestry, mining, and urbanization in flood mitigation planning. It suggests maintaining tree cover and utilizing natural lakes and wetlands could prevent rising water from reaching vulnerable infrastructure and homes.
This can maybe be a good opportunity for us to look at our flood management strategies and really try to incorporate some of these natural characteristics into how we manage floods.
A changing climate and more development on the edge of the wilderness means floods will inevitably happen. Perhaps a new approach to mitigation can reduce their severity. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Charges have been laid against a Nanaimo man for shoving a cyclist, and the whole thing was captured on a dash cam. 48-year-old Marcel Trudeau is facing charges of assault and dangerous driving. It happened in the beginning of August on Departure Bay Road. Dashcam video shows Trudeau on a motorcycle shoving a cyclist who then lost control, crashing face first on a sidewalk. Trudeau did not stop. The cyclist sustained non-life-threatening injuries.
Social media can be a real good tool for us. Sometimes it makes our investigations longer because we end up going down a rabbit hole, but certain times in these, they narrow down the pool and led us to identify both these people in a timely manner.
Trudeau's second court appearance is scheduled for next Tuesday. It's Fire Prevention Week, and Vancouver firefighters are using it to highlight the dangers of rechargeable batteries. The warning comes just a day after a blaze in West End at a high-rise, which officials say was sparked by a battery.
We saw a fire yesterday of the real-time effects of batteries exploding, breaking windows. We had smoke and flames coming from the windows on arrival. A very, very dangerous condition inside for the occupant.
No injuries were reported in that blaze. Vancouver Fire says they see at least one fire per week caused by rechargeable batteries, adding that when the batteries fail, they can violently explode, bursting into flames and releasing toxic gases. Officials say when it comes to safety, it is best to store rechargeable batteries in a storage locker far away from your sleeping area and any exit. The two leaders of the convoy that paralyzed Ottawa for weeks have been sentenced. Will they face any more jail time? Also ahead.
Because I want to be a great man, too.
The Prime Minister shared some laughs at his second meeting with Donald Trump. Is there sign of any progress on trade and tariffs? That's ahead. Prime Minister Mark Carney was welcomed to the White House today for high-level talks on trade and tariffs. This was his second trip at the invitation of the U.S. president and comes at a time when Donald Trump is threatening even more tariffs. CTV senior political correspondent Mike LeCouture has the latest.
With a firm but friendly handshake, Prime Minister Mark Carney arrived at the White House for his working lunch with U.S. President Donald Trump.
We're going to be talking about trade. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things.
In a 32-minute Oval Office meeting, Trump called Carney a great man several times, adding he's confident they'd work through the issues preventing a deal on tariffs.
He's a world-class leader. He's a man that knows what he wants. And I'm not surprised to see that he won the election and won it substantially. And I would think he's more popular now. He's a good man. He does a great job, and he's a tough negotiator.
He's a great man, and you want to do a deal with Canada. Why aren't you?
Because I want to be a great man, too.
Trump says the two countries are in a natural business conflict because Canada and the U.S. want to make similar things on both sides of the border.
It's a tough situation because we want to make our cars here. At the same time, we want Canada to do well making cars. So we're working on formulas, and I think we'll get there.
Carney said the two countries are competing, not in conflict.
We are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone, probably $8 trillion in the next 5 years if we get the agreement that we expect to get.
Following the meeting, the minister in charge of Canada-U.S. trade updated reporters on how it went.
It concluded with the President and the Prime Minister directing us, me and my colleagues and the President, his cabinet secretaries who were there, Ambassador Greer, Secretary Lutnick, and others, to continue the conversation and to quickly land deals that will bring, we think, greater certainty in areas where the principal areas would be steel and aluminum and energy.
In a sign that work will be continuing, Dominic LeBlanc is staying in D.C. for the next 24 hours for more meetings. And this evening, Prime Minister Carney is having a working dinner with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Washington.
The two main leaders of the so-called Freedom Convoy will not face jail time. Instead, they were both given conditional sentences for their roles in the 2022 protests that blockaded downtown Ottawa for several weeks. Tamara Leach and Chris Barber were found guilty of mischief in April. They were both given conditional sentences of 18 months. It includes 1 year under house arrest and a curfew after that. The judge took into account the more than $55 million in police costs and the lost revenue for businesses, as well as the disruption of community services.
There were many people in the downtown core and businesses that were affected by the Freedom Convoy. She doesn't deny that. The question of was there remorse for what she did? No.
The court also acknowledged that both Barber and Leach did try to limit the footprint of the convoy. Leach has already spent 49 days in jail. Medical milestone, how groundbreaking research at UBC could bring hope for those needing an organ transplant. And entangled in pollution, a strap that could have killed the sea lion, how the animal was rescued. Ahead on CTV News at 6.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Wake up and start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could be $20,000 richer. Simply watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver for the hourly code word. Then enter it online at ctvvancouver.ca for your chance to win. Imagine what you could do with an extra $20,000. CTV Your Morning's $20,000 giveaway. Watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver, weekday morning 6 to 9.
BC Cancer is encouraging women to book their mammograms as Job Action from Canada Post delays the usual reminders in the mail. Regular screening mammograms can find breast cancer early when more treatment options are available. They're available to most women 40 years and older without any symptoms. Every year, 3,500 people in BC are diagnosed with breast cancer, with rates rising for women in their 20s and 30s. People of all ages are encouraged to check in with their doctor if they notice any changes to their breasts. It's a major step toward helping thousands of patients waiting for an organ transplant. And it's all because of a medical achievement out of UBC. As CTV's Dimitra Maragos explains, the breakthrough has the potential to make any donation universal.
Data from the Canadian Institute for Health Information shows close to 3,500 Canadians are waiting for an organ transplant. Dr. Stephen Withers from UBC says
there's a shortage of O-type organs for transplant.
And
O-type people tend to wait longer on that transplant list.
Doctors Withers and Jayachandran Kizakahe-Dathu have developed a method that could make more organs available in the future by creating a method that allows organ transplants across blood types.
We developed this method for converting blood from A or B to O-type.
This is significant as O-type organs are universal donors. They have found enzymes that remove present surface layer A and B antigens and convert them into O-type antigens.
It's a little bit like if you were to rub the paint on your car, take off the surface layer of paint, you would expose the primer underneath.
In a first in-human experiment, an enzyme-converted kidney was transplanted into a brain-dead recipient. For 2 days, the kidney functioned without signs of destroying an incompatible organ within minutes. While on the third day, the kidney showed signs of a mild reaction.
The transplant surgeons assured me that they should be able to control any subsequent rejection.
While doctors have been able to perform transplants with different blood types in the past, it takes a week to prep the patient. This research shows it can be done much faster without a living donor.
The patient doesn't need any significant preconditioning, but the organ itself just needs a treatment for 1 hour with our enzymes, and that's it.
They add this could dramatically impact organ wait times across the board.
The number of organs available for transplantation is going to be increased.
Although this is an exciting breakthrough, there are still more studies to be done, and the doctors tell me that clinical trials are still a ways away. Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Vancouver.
A sea lion found in the Salish Sea with plastic around its neck has now been freed thanks to a multi-agency rescue that included the Vancouver Aquarian Marine Mammal Rescue Society. The stellar sea lion was first spotted near Whale Rocks in between Lopez and San Juan Islands. Officials say the packing strap had cut deeply into its neck, and if it hadn't been removed, the animal likely would have died. Using drones and boats to track the sea lion, crews were eventually able to capture it and safely remove the plastic. The animal was then released back into the water. No worse for wear. Oh, that poor sea lion. I'm glad that they were able to track it and help it.
Yeah, and great footage from the drone to see it get rescued and then move on its way in the water again.
Yeah, maybe they should make these straps from something that's more compostable.
Yes, I agree.
Rather than plastic,
for sure.
Right?
Exactly. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. We're seeing a mostly cloudy skies out there. We do have a ridge of high pressure offshore towards the north, and that will clear things out quite nicely. You'll see a lot of sunshine heading through the day tomorrow. Here's a look at our weather tracker. As that ridge, you can see lots of sunshine towards the north of us. Different story towards the south. We are going to see overcast conditions for your early morning commute. You do have a line of showers for the southeast corner of the province, and then it's not until tomorrow night that we will see some light sprinkles as well. So honing in on the south coast, the early morning commute is dry. We will get a few breaks here and there, but it's not until around 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow night. That's when we're going to see some showers, and it will continue into the overnight as well. For the North Island tomorrow, you're going to see mostly sunny skies for Port Hardy at 12 degrees, mostly cloudy skies for the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. A few clouds for Campbell River and Comox. Both you'll see highs to 13 degrees. For the South Island, mostly cloudy skies, a few scattered showers for Tofino, 13 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud and 14s for Port Alberni and Nanaimo. For the Southern Gulf Islands and Victoria, you're looking at mostly cloudy conditions, a few breaks. Temperatures between 14 and 16 degrees. A mix of sun and cloud with a few scattered showers, 13 degrees for the Sunshine Coast. Unsettled up the Sea to Sky Highway, some showers and some breaks. 15 for Squamish, cooler for Whistler at 8 degrees, and for us across the Lower Mainland, overcast skies with showers rolling in late tomorrow night into Thursday morning with some sunny breaks through the afternoon and 15. Rain returns, cools down on Friday, dropping down to 13 degrees into Saturday morning. Afternoon, we will see some sunny breaks there. Dry for Sunday with mostly cloudy skies, and then we'll be thankful for a mix of sun and cloud on Monday. 14 degrees, same goes for Tuesday, partly cloudy skies and 14. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So just have your umbrellas handy, especially as we head into Friday. Much needed rain returns.
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised. This is the middle of October,
exactly.
And it's Thanksgiving, but at least we'll see some sunshine on the long weekend.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Ann. Movie theater giant Cineplex is facing a hefty penalty, accused of misleading its customers. And
well, that's why I was like, this sounds very legit. Only a TD Bank employee will have this kind of information, right?
a victim of a bank scam shares her story with CTV. Criminals are defrauding people out of tens of thousands of dollars, leading to a public warning from police. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was down 4 cents, closing the day at $61.73 U.S. a barrel. Gold was up more than $28 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both ended the day lower, losing 180 points and 91 points, respectively. Cineplex is heading to court to fight a record $38.9 million penalty for misleading its customers. The theater company was penalized by the Competition Tribunal last year after it ruled Cineplex misled theater goers by not immediately disclosing a $1.50 fee for booking tickets online. The company is appealing the ruling, saying customers are told about the fee right away and can avoid it by purchasing tickets at a theater. More people are being victimized by the bank investigator scam, where criminals pretend to be bank employees claiming to protect your accounts. Police in Ontario have issued another warning after dozens were defrauded. CTV's Pat Foran has the story.
There's some fraud charges that were happening on your card.
Kimberly Liu of Toronto says in August she got a call from someone claiming to be with her bank. The person said her accounts were in jeopardy. The phone number appeared to show it was from TD, and the caller knew her personal information, including recent transactions and people on her e-transfer list.
So that's why I was like, this sounds very legit. Only a TD Bank employee will have this kind of information, right?
Liu was told her bank cards had been used in a skimmer and they needed to be canceled and replaced. They sent someone to her home to pick them up.
I gave them my physical card to this courier in the envelope. And then I guess, I don't know what happened after that. They drove off.
As soon as they had her cards, they started to empty her accounts. She was scammed out of $32,000.
I literally went to my dad. I was like crying. We called TD Bank right away to say, hey, like, this is what's happening.
Looking back at the event, I don't know that I would have done anything different just because of how convincing it all was.
Mabel Perez Ramirez of Oshawa also got a call saying her accounts were at risk and her cards needed to be replaced. A courier also picked up her bank cards. She was scammed out of $20,000. She was shocked her account could be emptied without intervention by Scotiabank.
How has such a large sum of money been taken out on all in one day, 1 to 2 days, and they weren't flagged about it?
To avoid this scam, never give your bank information or PIN to anyone. Never hand over your bank or credit cards. If a caller claims to be from your bank, hang up. If in doubt, call the number on the back of your card. Both TD and Scotiabank did not reverse the fraud charges. Both victims say banks need to do more to protect their clients.
There needs to be more pressure put on banks to be accountable for their role in this.
I was hoping to get a house in the next few years. And so with the credit card debt of that much, it's a lot of money.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Still to come tonight, Thai tree. Adam finds out why a tree in Victoria suddenly started sprouting neckwear. Coming up on the Sawatsky sign-off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
It's a high-stakes meeting between Canada's Prime Minister and the U.S. President. Wednesday on Your Morning Vancouver, a closer look at how Mark Carney's visit to the White House went. Plus, planning retirement income can be tricky. We'll find out how to prevent an unexpected bill while dealing with the loss of a family member. We'll see you in the morning.
The skies over Albuquerque, New Mexico are awash with color this week as the city hosts the world's largest hot air balloon festival. About 500 balloons from across the globe are there for the 53rd edition of the annual event, and they are creating a spectacular sight for locals and visitors alike. Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to attend before the 9-day fiesta ends on Sunday. With the Vancouver Canucks nearly 48 hours away from dropping the puck on a new season, the team's general manager is feeling confident the team can return to the playoffs after a disappointing campaign.
I believe in the team we have here. We all know the parity of the league and the condensed schedule and health, but we're very excited about the group we have here.
It will be a new, younger squad than the team that missed the playoffs by 6 points last season. Most notably on the opening night roster is the Canucks' first-round draft pick, 18-year-old Braden Coots, who scored 4 points in 4 preseason games. The Canucks begin their search at home Thursday night, their season at home Thursday night against the Calgary Flames. They'll play the Oilers in Edmonton on Saturday.
What's impressive?
I don't know about you. They look younger to me every year. Younger, but 18 is really young, right?
Good for him, though.
Now, have you guys ever been on a safari? Is this something on your bucket list?
Yes.
Okay. You might want to watch this, okay? Turning to some unbelievable footage from southern Africa. A fearsome elephant charged at a group of tourists on safari. Ooh, it happened in Botswana. The elephant was reportedly protecting its herd's young calves. It charged on the safari's boat, flipping it over. 2 tourists on the safari say they thought the worst would happen.
The first thought that came to my mind was, this is the end of me.
With the help of guides, most of the tourists were able to get away safely, although one tourist did suffer some injuries. Experts say an elephant guarding calves is considered one of the most dangerous animals in the wild. I want to know what happened before. Did they not see the elephants at all before getting in the boat? I think I want to stick to a land safari.
I'll just hold off on my bucket list.
Do your research. Make sure the guides know what they're doing, right? Okay, Craig, what's coming up tonight at 11:30?
Well, Mi-Jung, we are following today's helicopter crash near Squamish. We will have the latest on that tonight. Also, Vancouver City Councillors approved zoning changes to parcels of land in the Broadway and Cambie corridors. We will have the details of what this means for renters in the area and what the future could bring. Also, the Blue Jays look to sweep the Yankees tonight and advance in the playoffs. We'll have the highlights at 11:30. Mi-Jung?
All right, they just can't watch until after 7.
Exactly.
Okay? All right, thanks, Craig. Finally, Adam finds out the story behind a tree in Victoria that, instead of losing leaves this fall, is growing ties. It's a simple idea that has now turned into a community tradition. On tonight's Sawatsky Sign-Off.
Over and under.
When it comes to tying ties,
once you do this a couple of thousand times,
Bob Lamb doesn't really need a mirror.
You can do it in your sleep.
He first learned when he was little and mastered it after becoming a banker.
Wore a tie every day I worked for 60-odd years.
Bob also wore a tie that day he married his wife, Marnie.
He had to fit into a very conservative business role, but he was secretly a bit of a rebel.
When he wasn't conspiring with his co-workers to wear bow ties every Thursday, which earned him a nickname,
Bob, Bow Tie Bob.
Bob was running the Boston Marathon in a suit and tie.
You can do it the hard way or you can do it the fun way.
When Bob retired, he gifted or donated many of the more than 50 ties he no longer needed, until a flowering tree that was pruned too hard left them with a bunch of bare branches.
So Bob came up with the idea of, let's hang a few ties on it, and then it just kind of blossomed from there.
Although there were few floral print ties in Bob's remaining collection, he and Marnie ensured the tree proliferated with plaids and paisleys and bloomed with bow ties all year round.
So the ties brought it back to life.
But then, thanks to strangers walking by, the tie tree took on a life of its own.
And all of a sudden, ties were appearing. People would stop by, and I would encourage, just add to the collection.
They've ranged from other seniors celebrating retirement to a private school student marking her graduation.
It's been a source of joy just for us, but also people walking by. So I think the tree's happy.
And like this one tie Bob has kept, featuring the lyrics to John Lennon's Imagine, he hopes that all the people will someday join him.
To just share the love and the joy and
realize that while some may see a tie as constricting, it can also blossom into something uniting. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
I love that.
That's really cute. Craig, do you need any more ties?
I think it might. Yeah, I might have to hit him up.
Yeah, he's got quite a collection.
We need the address. Give them some more ties.
I know. You could do a tie swap there. You know,
good
put an
point.
old one,
Yeah.
get a new one,
Exchange
right?
program.
Grab the rainbow bow tie.
That's my
Good idea.
favorite. I want to see Craig in a bow tie. Have you?
All right.
Hey, tomorrow night.
We'll have to get them to send it to us. All right, if you missed the supermoon last night, check out this spectacular shot from Port Coquitlam. Thanks, Terry, for sending this beauty in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Great photo. I tried last night. Terry's
It
photo
never works.
much better than mine.
Probably a better camera.
All right, thanks for joining us. Craig will be back at 11:30.